Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kyle Corvus Crow, joined here today by Brian Brain Starkey Starkey. We have a very special matchup tonight, as it will be the University of Northern Iowa Black team coming up against University of Wisconsin Milwaukee Gold. So a little bit of black and gold action coming live at you here.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this match. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Please go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm excited about this match, particularly because this is actually one of the more even matches we should have throughout the entire AVGL run, right? This should be a pretty competitive one for that best of two format, which has been nice. That's something that we've seen kind of go both ways.
Sure.
Yesterday or the day before, you and I had a really good cast with the Gata Eagles.
Yeah.
Coming up against Clemson.
Yeah, that was a spicy game.
Yeah. Then we've had some that have been a little bit more one-sided, showcasing just how strong some of these schools can be.
Right. I think today will be an interesting game, at least because I haven't ever personally seen any teams from the University of Iowa or the University of Wisconsin.
Sure.
So I'm curious to see the type of player base that they have there. And actually transitioning right into the player base, we can go ahead and hop right into that pick and bans. These guys are already rolling right through it, getting a little bit ahead of us here.
Yeah, some eager beavers.
Yeah.
But I like it because they're just excited about League of Legends as we are, so they can't wait to play. Going to get this up on your screen soon. We do have some quick bans coming across with top and jungle focus in that Pantheon, Darius, Irelia, and Olaf are all out of there. So that's just a lot of melee in-your-face smackdowners.
Yeah.
And then kind of Caitlyn Jana just sprucing it up throughout.
Yeah, so those are actually two really important bans. Oh, the Exir lock-in. I want to talk about that in just 1 second. So with patch 719, that actually dropped yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday, actually, was when 719 dropped. And there were some huge changes in there. Caitlyn actually got buffed slightly towards her late game. She is now more of that auto-attacking in-game late, like that demon that we used to see until she kind of got those big nerfs at the beginning of the season. She's now have more punishable early weaknesses, but she's super scary come late game, just like absolutely terrifying. And then Jana, she got a little bit of a rework here in 719, but that rework was actually so strong that after they released the patch, within like 6 hours, they're like, we actually need to nerf her again because we over-tuned her. So they're bringing her back down.
That's not something we see often, right?
Yeah.
Hot fixes to just account for balance.
Yeah.
We see it happen with, bugs, unintended features that the game may have popped up with after a patch, but very rarely. I think I can count on, one hand the number of times that I've seen it happen for just, hey, this champion is way too strong. Get that out of here.
That's right.
Have to fix that.
I think the only time I remember that really happening was when LeBlanc was first released.
Ooh, yeah.
She was just way overtuned, and they nerfed her within 2 hours of her being out. It was just brutal.
Yeah. Flashbacks. Don't like that.
Yeah.
They're going to take off Nasus and Kale.
Yes.
On that side of things. So Lucian to respond. It is top laners now. They need to focus on getting away from the enemy. Now, on the other side, the bot lane is the focus.
Yeah. So the Lucian Nami ban is a little bit interesting. I'm not saying it's bad because they still are able to. They can still pick up their support. Like there's still supports, and actually for the side of Iowa, it's just a support that they need to get. And then from the side of University of Wisconsin, they now have that Xayah being locked in, who I actually really like to see Xayah a lot. She's just so strong, especially when she has that good peel line with that Maokai and with that Jarvan. She's able to get herself out of so many sticky situations that it's a really safe champ to play when you're looking at like a Master Yi or a Lux, because you can press that R button and get out of that Yi alpha dash or get out of that Lux ult. So that is that actually is really big for them to have because there's a lot of safety. She can even jump over the Morgana Dark Binding now that that's been locked in from the side of University of Northern Iowa. Now, real quick to transition back to the side of Wisconsin. Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot. There's a lot of stuff that's happened. It's very exciting. Azir actually, yeah, okay, hang on. God, he's so cool.
much.
So Azir actually got a whole bunch of changes in 719 as well. He got some tuning. Azir has always kind of been in that place of like super busted or super bad, and Riot is trying to bring him to a place where he's like fun to play against, but challenging to play. But when you play him well, he doesn't absolutely just take control of the game and destroy it. Right?
He's the new Rise.
Yeah, he is the new Rise. So I think the interesting thing is that.
Hang on a second. I'm hearing from our production that Azir is banned.
Maybe.
That could be. So I'm hearing that Azir is banned until Sunday. We're going to make sure the players know this because that could.
Yeah, we might
need to remake the lobby here.
Yeah, might have to get a remake. I'll keep talking about it since.
Well, yeah. Give us some context as to why.
Right.
This champion.
Yeah. So Azir had some really, really heavy changes, and generally when these heavy changes come out in the middle of a tournament, it's typically delayed. So I think that's might be part of the decision making. But getting away from that, a lot of the changes to Azir come in the form of his shield is now changed, his ult is changed, the way his soldiers work is changed. So like a whole bunch of his kit was actually modified. I can kind of run down the list real quick, not to get too in depth. Basically, his soldiers can no longer kill trinkets or wards. That's a huge nerf to him because now they can no longer safely clear wards using his soldiers, right? Before you were able to summon a soldier, able to send his soldiers in to do the dash, and then from there, they were just able to auto attack down the wards. And that was kind of how you would safely deal with wards. And that has now changed on Azir, so that's removed. They changed his shield, so instead of whenever he impacts a champion, whenever he impacts a champion, the shield no longer automatically procs. Now it just procs right away when he throws it out there, as well as increasing the shield amount, but decreasing the duration. So there's a lot of like safety changes made to Azir that I think make him a little bit more playable, but it's interesting to see once we finally start to see him more in play is how that actually is going to work.
Well, not anything we're going to get before Sunday, unfortunately. So not exactly still sure how this one is going to resolve it if we can get into players' ears in time. But looking at the rest of the composition for University of Wisconsin Gold here, I mean, we have Jarvan the fourth in the top lane, a Maokai jungle, and then the lovers duo of Xayah and Rakan in the bot lane.
Yeah.
Taking that into context, Azir, especially with good balance, current balance, is a very good pick here. What do you look to change now if you have to go back to the drawing board, assuming all other picks have to stay constant?
That's actually really interesting. Like there's Syndra still up. I really enjoy Syndra. She has so much burst damage, and with the peel of Jarvan and Maokai, she can actually play pretty safely, as well as that really fun engage coming out of Rakan, being able to dash in, knock people up, use a flash into a charm into a knockup. There's a lot of things that you can do with Rakan that can set up a lot of good strengths. You could pick up the Orianna. Orianna was not banned this game, and she actually did get some changes in 719 as well. Her ball speed has increased, so it now actually gets places faster, just base ball speed. So even if she's using her Q or her E, ball will always get there quicker. As well as you can actually, queue up abilities while the ball is in flight. So if you throw your ball out using your Q, and then as it's going to its location, you can queue up your ultimate. So when it gets there, it automatically starts, so you don't have to try to time it.
You can clean it up a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that actually works very, very well when you have a Maokai or a Jarvan. So if you throw it on the Jarvan as he is engaging with his flag and drag combo, you can start your ultimate while he's doing that. And then when he stops, when the ball stops on him, it'll then proc and then hit all the enemies around him. So that feels pretty good, right?
Yeah, no, very nice, clean combo. Obviously does come down to just player comfortability levels. Is something you definitely need to account for. But in the context of now, it is a Lux that will be this mid pick that actually does lend a little bit of power over towards the side of Iowa now. The side of Wisconsin, knowing what they will be up against with that Lux pick in the mid lane to kind of have their rundown. Because if everything does stay consistent, right, there were no bans from Iowa toward the mid lane. Lux was their preferred pick. They felt good about it. They wanted to run it into whatever. Azir, that's fine, doesn't matter. Now, possibly this gives a little bit of an unofficial last pick, maybe, if the compositions have to be swapped up. And that could be a big point of strength.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. Since the game is going to have to be redone without that Azir, I think these teams kind of get a glimpse into what the other is trying to do. Mm-hmm. Right now, having to remake a game and then seeing a composition that they're really comfortable, I honestly feel like in terms of the pick ban phase, University of Wisconsin won here, in my opinion.
Sure.
Like the Maokai, I kind of disagree with a Maokai and just because his clear time is not ideal, and there's a lot of what I would say better junglers out there than Maokai right now. But Jarvan in the top lane feels good. Like Zaira Khan, that always feels good. Those champions are so strong.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one of those things where you see that University of Wisconsin is going for these very strong picks. Like you have your heavy engage with your Maokai and your Jarvan. So it very could just be, or I'm sorry, it very well could just be one of those things where they really like to have that heavy engage and then some people who are very good at peeling after that.
Well, with all that in mind, we will see what happens with this as we do have an official remake coming in. But before that, we are going to kick it over to a break. Thank you for bearing with us through this, ladies and gentlemen. We will get right back with game number 1 between University of Iowa, Northern Iowa, and University of Wisconsin right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Plans to go back home. We've gone through so much trouble just to move along. Take my hand, we can go through this together. We can look to find a shelter. Reload. Get your weapons ready for tonight is our battle. Reload. You're gonna shoot through all the
Well, thank you for being patient with us, ladies and gentlemen. We have gotten to the bottom of all of this. The remake is being made, and we are told it's going to be a clean remake altogether, so players have a little bit of information on each other's comps now, but by and large would likely expect to see very much the same things coming through, as we do already have some quick bans fired off in similar succession.
Yeah, we do have actually, so far, all three of the bans are the same ones we saw last game. Pantheon was banned in the first round. Irelia was burned in the first round. And then in the second round, both Olaf and Janna were banned. So far, identical bans.
Right.
Not sure if they're just like, we actually really liked our strategy and the picks that we got. Maybe we just keep moving forward with that. Caitlyn getting banned away as well. We talked about how she has got those changes in 719 as well as Janna. Getting some quality of life updates for Caitlyn, helping her become a little bit more of a late game monster and less of a a beginning game threat. She's much more exploitable now, so it makes sense they want to get rid of her towards that hyper carry idea.
Absolutely. And so I think with this, the Kayle comes around just a little bit earlier. They maybe showed something a little too soon with that one that they didn't want to get off from the side of Wisconsin. So prioritizing that one into the first series, I believe that means that it was Darius last time that was banned in Kayle's stead. Does open that up. But I think after everything they saw, they probably have a pretty good idea. Actually, no, honestly. So
the bait.
They played a risk, and this could be taken over, but the Jarvan the Fourth goes right back in return.
Yeah, honestly, I like the J4 into the Darius matchup. J4 is one of the few people I think that can kind of not necessarily 1v1 Darius early, but at least survive it, right? You could have maybe a Malphite there to kind of help that Darius, but then it's also that same matchup where you're just looking to survive and not really trying to kill him. J4 has a higher chance of killing him, and then we actually see the Maokai pick locked in the jungle again. So far, we have the identical picks on the side of Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
I still kind of disagree with the Maokai pickup, but that's just kind of my opinion. And then back over to the side of the University of Northern Iowa, Master Yi getting picked up in the jungle like before, as well as Lux in that mid lane. And it looks like they heard me.
Yeah, you mentioned it before. Syndra is coming on through, so good pickup there as we have pretty much the top halves of our map sorted out. This is an entire bot lane focused ban phase at this point. It will be supports, it will be ADs, and with one out in each role, that's actually going to hit pretty heavily because they could just annihilate one role on this one and leave it to some pretty strange picks to come out.
I must not.
First will be the Leona, just trying to get, well, I like it because they, in theory, need to draft a pretty tanky support here from the side of Iowa, correct? Because Darius will be pulling his damage. Master Yi does not do well trying to scale into tanks anymore. They used to be a day. He's been through a lot. AP, Yi, tank, Yi. So much fun with that champion.
That's true.
Looks like it will be AD focused, though, coming out from Iowa against Wisconsin.
Yeah, I actually, the Leona ban, you're right, that does make sense. They do need a heavier engager from the side of University of Northern Iowa. The Sona actually getting banned away as well. I'm not sure if the Sona ban was quite what they were looking for, just because Sona is so squishy and they have so many easy delete buttons on the side of University of Wisconsin. I don't know if I would pick Sona as my last ban there. But either way, like if Darkhaven doesn't, like if they did some scouting and found out she's an excellent Sona player, then I would say, yes, please get rid of that Sona. But otherwise, Sona doesn't feel like that big of a threat to me right now. No. Maybe with the Ardent sensor changes, but I'm not sure.
Draft theory, right, leaves a little bit to be desired there because they had an option of basically ban the Leona, ban something like Thresh or Braum, and then pick up first round the latter because that's a triple denial there of a tanky support. And if you can keep them off of those kind of that trifecta of 3 tanky supports, because if they draft a Braum or a Thresh right here, this is actually very big in terms of patching up some of the holes in their kit.
Yeah, but that actually makes it really tricky for the University of Northern Iowa, right? Like now they have to pick, like they could pick Rakan, but now that sets up University of Wisconsin to pick up that Braum combined with that Kalista. That's a free engage. That's so much engage, right? You throw Braum in there, you get a knockup, you use Braum's ult. That gives Maokai and Jarvan both plenty of time to get that engage and give them a lot of peel so Kalista can pepper people with spears. Syndra can throw her dark balls in and like do stuff like that. I mean, even the Taric is good, right? You throw him in, you can pop your stuns. There's so much that you can do now that kind of the University of Northern Iowa was kind of forced into that Wisconsin did a really good job setting up. That I again really like the composition coming out of the University of Wisconsin.
I think Wisconsin Gold definitely has the right mindset in here. Their team is very strong, very classic all League of Legends team composition right here, right?
Yeah.
If anything, it will take them just a little bit longer to get rolling. They do have some decent enough early game focus coming out with Jarvan right around level 6, Syndra as well, but nothing crazy before that. And with Maokai's ultimate being one of the stronger gank tools he'll have outside of just the Flash Twisted Advance.
Sure.
I don't see this as I see this as a post-15 team, right? Before then, I bet they're just going to be looking to farm. And that's actually a really good situation for I Hate Scuttle on Master Yi. That's his window of disruption there, right?
Yeah. I think I agree with that a little bit. You do have Maokai actually can gank very well, at least top lane. Darius is pretty free. If J4 is actually able to land a flag and drag, then Maokai doesn't even have to flash Twisted Advance there. If he just Twisted Advance and then ties Darius up long enough, it is going to eventually force him to flash if they get Darius pushed up far enough into the lane that once that flash is burned, like that's a free kill in the top lane over and over again because Darius just can't get away. He's got one single target slow and he can pull people into him, but that's absolutely not helpful when you're trying to run away.
No, absolutely not. Would actually put a lot of pressure on I Hate Scuttle as well there to be that factor in keeping his top laner alive. But with the J4 versus the Darius, like you mentioned, J4 being one of those champions that can take it to him a little harder, at least weather the storm long enough to turn that back around. I think that does shift the focus here to these two mid laners that are both such crazy AP scaling champions that can just run right away with everything, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking when you said that post 15 minute. There's going to be a lot of damage coming out once either of these teams gets rolling. It's going to be really scary. Like Kalista gets extremely terrifying towards that mid game, right? She's able to throw all those spears out, and then she can just pull them out of you, give you a slow, and like just do a ton of damage and set you up to take like basically a kill. And in the case of Rakan, that's very bad, right? He already has a shortened dash range because he's not paired with Xayah. But like once he gets slowed and he gets caught out, that's a very bad place for Rakan to be in because he's not innately tanky, right? He is one of the more squishier kind of engaged supports. He has a lot of mobility to make up for that. But if he gets slowed, that mobility gets hampered a lot, right? Just by the natural logic of it. And so I think that's something that they need to be really careful of is if Kalista is able to get going and she can get those slows down, it's going to be really painful. But then the reverse is true for the side of the University of Northern Iowa, right? Like you get that Tristana going, you get that Lux going, all of a sudden you have like double damage threat, and then Master Yi will just eventually scale up even if he gets behind. There's this triple damage threat coming out from the side of University of Northern Iowa that gives them a little bit more flexibility where if they get caught or get behind, they will eventually scale and eventually be scary. They just have to make the game last long enough, right?
I agree. And that's where the Darius pick becomes a risk. It can definitely pay off in terms of snowballing the game to get them to that point a lot faster, get them right into there before 30 minutes, and then just, it doesn't matter what you have on Maokai. You've got a snowball Tristana, a snowball Lux. There's only so many tank items you can build, and with a very well-rounded damage composition coming out of AP and AD, especially being as burst heavy as they both are, it does leave a door open there. The reverse of that, of course, is that if Darius gets shut down, never rolling, and the rest of his team cannot find their footing throughout laning phase, suddenly they're left without a tank. And that becomes a really big problem. I don't care how slippery you are, Master Yi, Rakan, Tristana, Rocket jumping out. They will catch you. They will kill you if you don't have the health bars to stay alive. So have to be very careful in the way that they play that out. And it all does come down to how well can they execute against one another.
Yeah, and you really touched on that Darius pick. Like that is very important to talk about because they are going to be looking to that Darius to kind of carry them through this like late early game and like mid game section because that's where a lot of their damage is going to be coming from is from this Darius. And so they need to make sure he doesn't get shut down or is at least able to farm CS. He doesn't necessarily need to get kills, but he needs to have good CS and he needs to make sure he gets the gold that he needs. Otherwise, they're going to have a really, really weak like early and mid game, and it's really going to hurt them because by the time Syndra hits that mid game, she's going to be being able to press that R button and just delete somebody from the side of University of Northern Iowa. So they really need to make sure this Darius is protected because he's going to be one of the ways they're able to kind of stave off these mid game fights around your dragons or your Rift Heralds, right?
Sure. And they have a lot if they want to engage onto this Darius too, because just the ability to roam up from a Syndra, it is there. The ganking coming in from Maokai as well. Darius, like you said, very immobile. All it takes is a flag and drag. So I really think actually more pressure gets put on the rest of the team to help Dudge win this lane against ShamWow Sherlock than it actually falls on Dudge's shoulders himself because he'll have the tools, but by and large, the matchup does go Darius favored early, which is what Darius wants there. And so he needs to be very much supported and not alone in this instance.
I agree, but I think that's the tricky part, right? Where your jungler is Master Yi, there's really not a lot of early pressure that Master Yi can put down. I feel like he doesn't do a lot of that upfront damage, and especially with that J4, it can actually put him in a really tricky situation because if Master Yi uses that Alpha Strike onto J4, and J4 flag and drags backwards to his turret, that forces a flash out of Master Yi, right? So I hate Scuttle needs to be really smart about how he chooses to gank this top lane if Dudge does start to get behind on the Darius.
Absolutely. So, all in all, does become a very pointed degree of how these two teams are going to play it out. They both have very loaded guns right at each other's face, and whichever one lands the first shot, whichever one makes it happen early. So we are about a minute into the game thus far.
And it doesn't look like there's going to be anything too exciting happening here at this level 1. Maybe one ward coming out from the side of University of Wisconsin, making sure that this Tristana and Rakan aren't doing anything too cheeky, showing up in that bush there in that bot lane, which could be a little bit risky. But the good news is that Rakan actually doesn't have that super strong level 1. He can do a knockup, but Taric, if he takes that stun at level 1, it actually is more scary for Exo Shelly and Darkhaven than it is for Exalt and Dewey.
Absolutely. Strong side to the red buff will be bottom side leashes for both sides. Got to get Maokai that mana early. Master Yi doesn't care as much. He just wants to get that damage down and get his clear time out a little bit faster. He'll likely means that both will be looking for their first gank in the top lane here.
And that's kind of like what we were talking about, right? We really see that top lane focus because that's really going to shift how this game goes, is what happens in the top lane. And we do see some early damage being traded into the bot lane. Like there's that the Kalista spear rip that I was talking about, right? She threw 3 or 4 spears into Tristana and then ripped him in. That was about a fifth of her health gone. I mean, that's a lot of health at level 1 and a lot of pressure that they're able to put down. The early level 2 coming out for Dudge.
Ooh, yeah, no. ShamWow Sherlock in some trouble here. Actually has to flash so early, but gets flashed on under tower.
Oh my gosh.
Dudge wanted it, did not follow through. You know at level 2, that's the only amount of tower shots that you can take there. So,
and that actually puts Dudge in a very, very good position against ShamWow Sherlock, because that means that when Limited comes to gank, they are going to be in such a good spot to kill him that, like, ShamWow Sherlock is probably going to have to go back after he gets this CS. And it does look like iLimited is going to take away this blue buff as well, get a little bit of a denial down.
Yeah, so all in all, Limited getting a very good start for himself here in this jungle. Dudge
He's
wisely
dead.
not
He's dead.
attacking, but no, does die anyway. At the point where the tower aggroes you, you have to fight back, right?
Yeah.
Because he knew he wasn't going to get away from that. He may have been able to turn the damage back around, but either way, this is a clean first blood for ShamWow Sherlock, who, while had to blow his flash early, no, there's the flash twisted and Limited, punishing the overstay. That was absolutely hubristic by Sherlock. He did not need to be in that position.
That was a really unfortunate play coming out of. Played really well, that Dudge J4. Basically using his pool, bringing him into turret range. As he knew he was going to get hit by that Q, Jarvan's Q, where he extends his spear out and does damage. Knowing he's going to get hit by that, pulls him into tower range, and he takes a bunch of damage. And then, oh, hang on. Big
Nice
fight.
stun up on Exo Shelly. Will be getting the damage down. That Ignite actually can be very dangerous, but was not enough. No Rend to come out just this early. Does keep Exo Shelly alive, but very low health here. Good news is still does have both summoners. But look at the CS differential between these two. Look at what a bully Exalt is in this lane.
And that's what you would expect to see with this Taric and this Kalista. Like, Taric can basically walk up to you and use his stun, and then that sets Kalista up to get at least 2 spears off via auto attacks, and then a third one off. Oh, hang on, Limited coming into the top. And slowed with that red buff.
Ooh, that's definitely going to be a kill coming out very quickly. ShamWow Sherlock, no flash still, so they are capitalizing on it very quickly. The red buff will slow it. Scuttle's here. It's only a matter of whether or not he can turn this into a 2v1 situation, because ShamWow Sherlock is now dead. The flash comes in. Scuttle finds Limited, but now with double buffs, he's on the way out. He will be speed buffed up. The shield from Lux. So it is the clean escape, and I hate Scuttle. Best rethink your position on that, my friend, because it just saved your rear end.
So that's one of those things where the that was a hard fight. Limited started off with very, I hate myself for saying this, limited health. I'm sorry, he did.
He did.
So he started that fight out with not very much health at all. And then when I Hate Scuttle rotated up, we did see the strength of that Alpha Strike into that Master Yi passive of the Double Strike. So there was a lot of damage coming out pretty quickly. And there's just nothing that Limited could do because he did use that Twisted Advance. So there was no way for him to get out of the Master Yi damage by Twisted Advancing onto another target. So he did take a lot there. And then once that fell, that set I Hate Scuttle up to then shut down Dudge from there.
Yeah, Dudge in an interesting position because they do have the two kills now of the side of Wisconsin are on ShamWow Sherlock. So Northern Iowa, a little bit of a hole in their top side. You know, we talked about that as their win condition. Dudge has one of those. Now, ShamWow Sherlock got one on his end as well, but if anything, the XP denial there for ShamWow Sherlock, for Dudge over ShamWow Sherlock, being a level up, having that wave advantage of already 12 CS, I think is going to be building the biggest storyline here, and it's actually going to cause I Hate Scuttle to have to work overtime to get these lanes back on track because they're down 2 levels in the top lane now as J4 takes the ultimate up. He has it, not going to use it just yet, but will have that fight advantage, just building his way to fight the tower here, I think. And then taking a look at the bot lane too, the CS differential's 30. In a matter of 6 minutes, 30 CS different. Whew.
Yeah, and I mean, like, looking at all of the lanes, except for, like, or looking at all positions except for jungle, we see that, like, University of Wisconsin is very far ahead, mostly, right? Like, 7 CS in the top lane. We see 25 CS in the mid lane, 31 CS in the bot lane. Like, I mean, you've got, like, that's basically a kill onto Kalista, a kill and a half, actually, onto Kalista over Tristana. That is a kill on Syndra over Lux. Like, we're seeing these champions that we were talking about, like, needing to scale and being those hard win conditions for the side of University of Wisconsin, already scaling up at 7 minutes and 20 seconds. And that is a 1.3k gold difference already without any towers being down and with even number of kills.
Right.
Like, that is all CS difference.
That is just going to be rough. Now, the first blood did come out actually in favor, too, that extra 100 gold for the side of Northern Iowa. ShamWow Sherlock did have that, and so that actually should help him in this top lane. The problem is he only has a Ruby Crystal Longsword compared now to the finished Tiamat of Dudge on Jarvan IV. Also, still the levels down. This is just going from bad to worse for him because now, look, the dive should come through. The Cataclysm is the dunk on it. Yeah, he has poise. It doesn't matter if you have your pull under tower, your flash. If you don't leave yourself enough health to just survive the basic dunk, if you lose that much in trades, it's not going to go well for him.
And that's really where I feel like the hubris of ShamWow Sherlock staying in that lane too long after that level 1. Hang on.
Ooh, yeah, this is bad for I Hate Scuttle. Look at ASAP. He just walked behind the tower. He just ran all the way. I mean, that is on Mr. KH Fan's turf, right? Northern Iowa was way too north into their lane and not watching the South Pole because that was a sneak in. Surprise! Dudge is here, Syndra's here, ASAP gonna make it all happen. So,
oh boy,
by and large, yeah, this is a very controlling early start to the University of Wisconsin Gold. They had a couple kills given up from where they've overextended, maybe, but they've played back to it. They've not let it rattle them, and now they are calling all the shots.
And with those 2 kills, they are actually now about 3,000 gold ahead. We almost saw the gold advantage triple off of 2 extra kills because that forces them out of lane, gives them those small advantages, and just gives them so much so much ability to basically free roam and do whatever they want. Like, the biggest issue is that Mr. KH Fan wasn't even able to challenge Syndra when she wandered behind a turret, walked in between 2 turrets from the right side to get that, and just, I mean, that hurts.
Limited popping the ultimate to keep ShamWow Sherlock on up. The stun does not connect. So he has an out here, but it does cost him the flash. Probably going to get flashed in on here. No, I'm sorry. There's no flash from ASAP, but didn't need it. Did have just the basic range to the kit. So my eyes were playing a little bit of tricks on me, but ASAP saw everything clear as day and took the kill gladly. That's another one down. 4 of the 5 deaths onto ShamWow Sherlock. We talked about shutting down the Darius. We talked about keeping him from scaling. We didn't talk about destroying him.
I mean, that's what you gotta do, right? Like, do you want Darius to come back into the game?
No.
If the answer to that question is no, like you said, just keep him from ever being in it, right? Now you're forcing him, like, he has to get Black Cleaver. That's such a big part of his kit to try to even do anything, is to get that Black Cleaver, but now he can't pick up any extra damage items without being a huge hindrance to his team. Now he's just a walking Black Cleaver tank, where before, if he had gotten going, oh my gosh, hang on.
Under tower. That's some bad news there, but all in all, just a good chunk on each side. These lanes are just snowballing out of control. ASAP now, not only 2 kills ahead, over 50 CS. Ugh.
Yeah, that's so nasty. Like, I can't. And Dutch, hang on, Shamwell Sherlock gonna get a lot of damage.
Dutch puts him still up. No, actually, does flash out, so he's fearing for his own life. Maybe they thought that Master Yi was off in the wings, because I still feel like Dutch could have won that fight out pretty handily, just with what he had at his disposal. The Stairs Gauge, the Tiamat, only against really the Phage, and then just a little bit of extra survivability. I think with the dunk could have gotten him in a pretty good position.
I think it would have been a little bit risky, just because with the 5 Darius passive stacks, you do see a massive amount of true damage coming out of the true ShamWow Sherlock Darius dunk.
Yeah.
So I think he was being a little bit hesitant. You don't want to give up anything just because you're being greedy when you know you can get away. Luckily, ShamWow Sherlock didn't have his flash up, so it was a free flash game.
Ooh, flash. Looks like they wanted the Twisted Demands, but it's really just getting very safely. Knocks back Exo Shelly, and Exalt goes down with the kill. Exalt takes the kill down. Exo Shelly is the one that goes down. Both summoners up, so probably wouldn't have lived with them anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe wise to just hold on to that. But now first turret pressure is well in the hands of Wisconsin here. Looks like they will prioritize Dragon. They know the tower not a danger.
And getting that Windrake and taking that away from Master Yi and Rakan both is actually a big pickup. Kalista is a huge beneficiary of that extra movement speed, as well as Syndra, especially because we have seen Syndra just kind of walking anywhere. Anytime she sees a champion near the mid lane, she walks towards them, and that really helps Syndra, because if she can get there faster, she can throw down a ball and then use her ult. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that she can do, like there, right? Like if she had extra movement speed, she probably would have been able to catch up to KH Fan and do a lot of damage. And it looks like
this is bad for Scuttle. The flash out at the right time with ShamWow Sherlock being where he needs to be to protect that. Does mean it's only a summoner blown, but that is still a really good takeaway if you are Dudge. Want you being able to flash into range to get some of those critical alpha strikes off. And it just opens the map for Dudge to run wherever he wants. He's just running behind the towers now, clearing out the topside vision and getting himself into good positions to just keep these fights up ever so safely, because he knows his team is in good positions across the rest of the map. Bot lane has not stopped pushing. Mid lane has not stopped holding pressure. Only top lane has been even mildly questionable, and now Dudge looks to just have such control, especially as he's not only policing his opposing top laner, ShamWow Sherlock, but I Hate Scuttle as well. With, gutsy engages like that, it really does just keep the pressure right off of his back and gives him the opportunity to maybe stretch out the CS lead, because he's the only one not dominating the CS score on his team.
Oh man, and that's the thing though, like, even though Limited is not dominating the CS score, he's actually doing a much better job of applying pressure around the map. So he's getting wins for his team instead of wins for himself, right? Yeah. Sacrifice the CS to help your team get ahead, which he is doing. I mean, that mid lane is a testament to that, right? Was that 86 CS in the mid lane? Like, that's just
ridiculous.
Like that is 10 CS a minute coming out from the side of ASAP. Like, that is what is defined as pro level CS if they're just doing their job, right? Like,
first turret down as well, part of that huge advantage. I want to talk about the gold discrepancies between the junglers too, because yes, while they are tied with a kill and there was not much standing gold before that tower went down, individually Limited was only about 200, 300 gold over I Hate Scuttle. So despite the fact that yes, he is at a CS disparity there and they were tied in kills, he had the gold in his favor all the same. So the actual importance of the jungle camps he was clearing probably a little bit higher, keeping the gold in his favor, as well as the 3 assists to come out. Did make the difference there. Obviously, now that lead will be stretched as first tower does go into the hands of University of Wisconsin, as they are up a cozy 6K gold at 14 minutes.
6K gold going into 15 minutes, where we said this is where the Kalista and the Syndra are really going to start to come online. Like, Kalista now has that Blade of the Ruin King. She's throwing out those spears really, really fast. She's about to get her Zerker's Greaves, and then from there she can transition into your Rune Hurricane if she wants that, and just get spears on spears on spears out. And then it's just, throw out 1 or 2 Rens, and it's a bad day for everybody involved.
Looks like bot lane tower will be the next focus, as They are coming up to just chew right through this. Blue tower destroyed. Northern Iowa has to back off. All 5 members. A potential threat, actually, as Dudge's teleport will be coming up very soon. The Syndra ultimate Exo Shell fight. ASAP picks that one up very cleanly. Again, no Summoner's Burn. I do have to call that one in, but we wait on that as the Maokai ultimate finds 2, knocks him back. Double kill for Syndra, and Tarek takes away the credit for the 3rd, dropping his own mastery. Toot your horn a little bit as you take the tower. That's fine. It's a bit of a victory lap, and he was the only one on his team without a kill, to be fair.
Yeah, to be fair, right? Like, you have to support your support, right?
Gotta give it. So they know, actually, Syndra ult's already halfway back up after Exo Shelly has died.
Oh, God.
So Exo Shelly just came back to life. Syndra ultimate will be out of it for a little while, but I don't even think they're too afraid because all they can do is just keep crashing this wave on the tower, keep pushing. They have 4 members down there, and Sherlock is not able to punish hard enough on Dudge in the top lane that they take away the inhibitor turret before 16 minutes. And if they stick around, if that's what they can do to a turret, they can't be afraid of this inhibitor, right? That has to be in their sights still.
Yeah, I mean, that should be pretty free now that the Syndra ult is going to be up here in about 10 seconds. ShamWow Sherlock taking a lot of damage. Cataclysm is available.
Yeah.
A little bit surprised.
Yeah, probably just didn't want to fall through the flash. Next Flag and Drag would just keep it very clean, secure. He knew he could wait for that cooldown and just do it under tower if need be.
Yeah.
So was definitely ready for that. Didn't want to blow his flash or risk messing up the Cataclysm. So very disciplined play coming out from Dudge to get that kill very much in as he's now really stretching this lead. Is able to bounce the tower. Top lane, definitely the closest of the 2 we've seen all game.
Which is...
And it hasn't been that close.
Yeah, I was going to say, which is not great for the side of University of Northern Iowa.
I will say this, actually. Mr. KH fan, only Deathless member on his team.
That's true. That's all. Okay, so yes, that is true. But with all the games that we have spectated, hang on.
What a stun! Line that up perfectly.
He's dead.
Very much predicted it. A strike to deny the ultimate, and Due takes away another. Says if you leave the option up there, I will take it. He's keeping ASAP toast. That's what that is. That is a support who is not afraid to make his mid laner better. That is a classic get grub move.
That's right.
Styling a little bit on his mid.
That's right. You have to be very calculated with your damage. Otherwise, your support will take your kill.
Like, moral of the story.
Something I didn't get to touch on is while Due has been taking the kills from the side of University of Wisconsin, in that bot lane dive where we did see him pick up a couple kills, there's a lot of reasons why those health bars were so healthy for the side of University of Wisconsin, and that's because Due actually has amazing timing with his ultimates to give them that invulnerability during fights. No one took any tower damage because it was just so well done.
Oh, look at stun is all it takes. Dudge gets that. Every member of the team had their hands on the kill. It's a double kill as all 5 participating will find the next tower of the game, while ShamWow Sherlock nowhere to be found in that top lane is a bit of a problem. Inhibitor number 1 going down. Likely going to flex straight into 2. The only benefit now for the side of Northern Iowa is that these death timers are still actually quite low because it's so early into the game. We're only at 19 minutes, and they are just marching it down. This is not dominating. That is the 6th death and 6th kill for both ShamWow Sherlock and Dudge. Didn't quite get it as cleanly as it may look on the scoreboard, but they made it through. 19 minutes.
Yeah, so this Lux, like, nope, this is not a judgment on KH fan, right? He's playing Lux the way I feel like she should be played. You throw out your bindings, you throw out your E's, you do your damage, you get some auto attacks, and then you use your ult, right? You do
Safe backliner.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Exalt missing that Q over the side.
Feels bad.
But the thing is that KH fan was so far behind in terms of just all of University of Wisconsin's side that there was actually, like, he's just not doing any damage. Like, he hasn't had a chance to scale. He hasn't finished Morel and Namicon. He hasn't finished your, what's the staff with the exploding? I can't remember the name of that item. No.
Staff with the exploding.
Like, whenever you hit somebody with a spell, it...
Oh, Luden's Echo.
Yeah.
Okay. Actual icon.
No.
Because I was like, what's a skull? Skulls?
No, that's on me. Yeah, so he hasn't even built up the Luden. Now nobody's going to respect this call because I can't remember the name. But, like, Luden's Echo is actually really big for Lux as well.
Sure.
And without that item, I think it's going to be, like, it's just hard for Lux to do any of this damage. And so it's just hard. Even though he has 0 death, he doesn't have a lot of CS in comparison to even the rest of his team. Master Yi has 14 CS up on him. Darius has 31 CS up on him, or 30 CS now, I guess. And so it's just there's not a lot that he can do. So he can get the snares and he can land his ult, but it's not going to matter because University of Wisconsin is so far ahead.
Yeah, Wisconsin definitely in a good position now to win this game. Baron only up for 40 seconds before it was taken away off of a very eager Wisconsin composition to come take this. Looks like ShamWow Sherlock's in a bad position. And you don't want to be out there. He knows actually Baron because it told him. And so even though he didn't have vision, he was just pushing that one maybe on just a little bit of AFK mode. Hey, well, I was way clear.
That's right. I was clearing minions.
Right. His team needed to do the rest. And much to his credit, his towers are the last two standing outside of the Nexus towers. So
yeah,
good for him. But situation looking only ever more grim for Northern Iowa here as Wisconsin have now come in on the warpath. They are taking every single tower. They are taking every inhibitor. There will be no shred of any objectives left on this map by the time they are done, and the minions just keep flooding it. They have pressure all over. This is no doubt building up to what will be the last stand for the University of Northern Iowa.
And that feels really bad. At 21 minutes, it takes your entire team to defend.
There's the flash in as ASAP once it does get pulled back, but dominates all the while killing Tristana. ShamWow Sherlock on the way out, but does not find it to his base. That is another kill. Scuttle doing what he can, which is not much. And KH Fan, the only one left alive, fires off the ultimate and likely will have that perfect KD of 0 tarnished at the very end. 22 minutes is all it takes. 20 and 2 kills. And Wisconsin have come through dominating. 20k gold lead, 20 kills, 22 minutes, only 2 given up on the scoreboard. It is a game of 2s. And with that in mind, I will say we have one more game coming up. This is a best of 2.
It is. So, I mean, that gives University of Northern Iowa a chance to kind of recoup and figure out what they did wrong. But the problem is it just feels like they're a little outskilled right now. And that kind of hurts because the game finished at 22 minutes. There was 22 kills in the game. That is a kill a minute, except for every time one of those kills happened for 20 of the 22 minutes, that was over for the side of University of Wisconsin. So there wasn't a whole lot that kind of felt good about that.
And if we think about it, actually, the only 2 kills that Northern Iowa actually got in that were very, very early. It was one coming out from ShamWow Sherlock under the tower to get the first blood.
Yeah, the first
and then
blood.
it was the recovery kill from I Hate Scuttle when ShamWow Sherlock got doubled up on in the middle lane. And
yeah.
I Hate Scuttle was saved by the Scuttle. Gotta love it.
That's right. Limited and Dudge not doing their jobs, dying, man. How dare they?
Oh, no. Yeah, it was not ideal for them at all, but you do what you do with what you got. And so they will have to come in and adapt. We are going to cut it to break. But before we do, I want to take a second to talk to you all about the credits that we are giving out for watching the AVGL broadcast. We are doing betting on these games where viewers can bet their AVGL credits now. At the end of the stream, there's a 3,500 RP giveaway. You get 30 credits per 10 minutes. So if you were watching that game, you should have a whopping 60 credits. A little bit more after we come back from the break. And especially with a delayed start, that actually does give everybody a little bit more to saturate the pot with.
That's true.
There, so do stick around for that because we'll have a 3,500 RP giveaway at the end of this one. I think the betting now might be a little tilted in one direction or the other, but you never know if Northern Iowa could play Dark Horse or not. Regardless, we are going to kick it over to break. The rest of this series unfolding after we get back. Please don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for sticking around. And if you're new here, thank you for joining us. This is obviously a halfway point between the Titan School of University of Wisconsin and the underdog that is University of Northern Iowa here. Now, we did see Wisconsin come through with a very quick victory last game around getting ready to get into the next game to see what possibly University of Northern Iowa can do to turn this series back.
Yeah, that was a really rough game for the University of Northern Iowa that last time. It was 20 kills in favor of University of Wisconsin at 22 minutes, all of their towers down, all of the inhibitors down. Baron, I think at 20 minutes, there was really nothing that University of Northern Iowa could do to slow that game down. And, you know, basically in this pick ban phase, we see a couple of bans being changed out, at least one ban from the side of the University of Northern Iowa, taking away that Syndra that ASAP played so well in that first game. He's now actually not going to be able to play that this game, and that was one of the big reasons they had such an early dominance. Was ASAP was able to get a couple early kills on Syndra, and then he dominated his lane, and then from there he dominated the rest of the game.
Over on the other side of things, University of Wisconsin now on blue side does ban away Darius, despite the fact it's a first pick option of him. And I actually want to look at this from a positive angle of that could be some respect, right? Because they had to focus a lot on Darius to get him out of that game. He died, I think, with 7 deaths at the end of the game of 20. So almost half of his team's death. And that's just because of the sheer amount of focus they put on him. I mean, they did not want him in that game. So they especially snowballed on him early and then really just laid down the hurt as it did get later into the game. Banning that one away says, hey, look, if anything, this was an obstacle for us last time, and we don't want to have to deal with that again. We don't want to have the onus on us to apply that same pressure throughout. So with that ban, Jarvan in the top lane, very consistent, more aggressive jungle coming out from Limited as he does lock in that Kha'Zix. I want to touch on, though, the Quinn Kane.
Yeah, so Quinn is actually, I really enjoy Quinn as a champion. I'm not sure how I feel about her in the top lane into J4. She actually does at least have range on him. She has some escapes if she gets flag and dragged. She can use her E to bounce off of him, get a crit, then she can throw out her Valor. Sorry.
Throw be trading it too.
Yeah. Throw out Valor and have it have that hit, get another crit. So there's a lot of damage that Quinn can throw down really, really fast onto that J4. So it's not a bad pickup by any means. And then I actually really enjoy Kayn because Kayn can provide some very, very interesting jungle paths that allows him to kind of keep the game a little bit interesting for Kha'Zix. Now, if he is able to get in there and like 1v1 Kayn early, Kha'Zix does win that matchup, but Kayn can get some surprising jungle pathing. So if Kha'Zix is not ready, that can be a very dangerous thing for him to play against.
Well, with that in mind, the Quinn and the Kennen make for some interesting flex arounds that will put a little strain on this ban phase from Wisconsin. I expect to see just support heavy.
Yeah.
I think, because that's really safe. They can target out the support. They did focus on some ADs last time around, but yeah, there is the first Thresh being taken out. One ban remaining for these guys, as I know it is bot lane focus across the board, with first pick option being here for Northern Iowa on the other side of this draft. I think a support ban and pickup takeaway, again, really goes well into making sure they don't want to see anything. Kalista, though, was a huge thorn in their side last game. Not going to have to deal with it now.
I can respect the Kalista ban. You know, we saw Exalt play that Kalista so well in combination with Dewey's Taric. Like it was very, very terrifying, and it really shut the bot lane down. They didn't necessarily get a lot of kills until they started getting some ganks, but they put so much pressure onto that Tristana Rakan that there was not a lot that they could do. Like Tristana fell behind in CS so fast. We never saw her even get a chance to scale up, right? Like I think she barely had a BF sword by the end of that last game. Like that feels really bad as what's supposed to be a hyper carry ADC, and you just aren't able to get the CS you need to get any items because you're just being zoned so hard by like a Taric Kalista combo. And so, you know, getting rid of that Kalista at least makes it a little less painful. I really like the Sivir pickup here, though. In combination with the Kayn and the Kennen, that's a lot of speed and a lot of damage coming at you really fast, and some CC as well coming out of Kennen in the form of his ultimate Maelstrom.
Right. Definitely drafting themselves what they need. Similar problems to last time, though. No tank, right?
Yeah.
And you can get Kayn in sort of a little bit of a tanky role. I mean, you can kind of push him into that, but it's not really, it's not a great fit for the champion.
That's not necessarily where you want him coming out of the jungle, right? You
Right.
want to have him on that assassin form of Kayn, right? Because he does have those two forms. He has that tank killer form, the assassin form, and the assassin form is stronger coming out of the jungle. But you know, the issue is that if he gets that assassin form, he still has to wait 3 minutes before he can switch over to the tank form if that's the one that he wants. And like you said, you can push him in there, but the start is delayed on doing that. Because of the way he stacks that up is if he hits ranged champions, it sets him up for assassin form. If he hits melee champions, it sets him up for the like anti-tank form. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see how he does that. There are a lot of ranged champions on the side of University of Wisconsin, so he could scale into that assassin. But like you said, no tank. They're really just looking at that Soraka to maybe try to help.
I know it.
Wait,
Hey, they are as squishy.
Sivir and Quinn. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty sure
okay.
that was going to swap out. Yeah.
Okay, I was
gonna touch on
about
that
to be
too.
like really like
That would have been wild. Yeah. Oh.
been.
So a very soft composition coming out from the side of University of Northern Iowa. Very much the glass cannon that might just shatter if it tries to fire off too hard, or might be able to do a devastating amount of damage. I think the composition of Wisconsin here really plays well to it, though, because they have Jarvan the Fourth and they have Kha'Zix especially that are just going to love to get right in the face of all of these champions and just pitch a tent and camp there. They're going to feel really good about this, especially. You have some slippery-ish champions, but the bot lane of University of Northern Iowa in particular is going to be very, very gankable early on from a Kha'Zix. Quinn as well has a little bit better chance to get away. Ken in there with a stun too, but all in all, these are lanes that they're just going to love to send limited in on with that Kha'Zix and tandem in their own CC and just collect kills everywhere they can. They had a bloody 22-minute victory with 20 kills.
Yeah.
I think this composition is one that they're saying, we can top that. That was good, but let's take that up a notch.
Right, and that Kha'Zix really does that. He's so strong at level like so strong at level 1 and then at early levels. Like you talked about, this bot lane is going to be such a huge focus for them. Like Soraka, once that flash is burned, as long as Sivir doesn't have low enough health, Soraka can't ambulance run to the Sivir, right? Like she's just kind of stuck padding along with her little goat feet trying to get away, and she just can't, right? And so that's and with so much CC coming out from the side of the University of Wisconsin in the form of Xayah being able to throw out those feathers really quick and then pull them back for a root, and then using Rakan to dash in and knock them up. Like there's a lot of CC that they have to really set Kha'Zix up for success after he gets that leap. He can jump right in, get that isolation bonus, throw down his claws. You know, there's a lot of damage coming out there, and bot lane is going to be in a really hard press situation to avoid that.
Transfer that to the mid game too, when it gets to be, if there ever is a grouped up fight instead of just an isolated series of picks, because honestly, Wisconsin's team composition flourishes very well in either. You can have so much wombo with the Rakan engage, the Orianna Shockwave, Jarvan to Duncan as well. Just keep the AoE rolling out while limited jumps back and forth, collecting reset after reset after reset. The defensive capabilities of that is that, at least with the Kennen pick on University of Northern Iowa, they can make that a bit tougher of an engage. It's kind of like daring someone to jump into the rose bush that's covered in thorns, and Kennen will make you bleed trying to come out for it. Hopefully by that time, Quinn and Sivir can do something as well in there. A lot of focus actually will be on that AD.
Yeah, but that's the tricky thing, right? Like going back to the Kennen Maelstrom, when somebody from the side of University of Wisconsin tries to engage. I say somebody because they have so many engage tools.
Yeah.
I mean, like we saw this last night in the game with the Gata Eagles, right? Like the Rakan was so good, he would flash in, charm, and then knock up. Like there was no time for them to react. And if Rakan is able to land those charms, Dewey is able to get those charms, he basically sets them up for a really, really easy Orianna command shockwave, either off the back of a Kha'Zix leap in or a J4 flag and drag, or even just using her own ball to do it. Because like we talked about at the beginning of the first game before we had that remake, was the ball speed has been increased by 200, basically 200 move speed. So it is going to be a lot faster, and you can queue commands up as it's traveling. So you can throw it out, and if you know it's going to land and you're feeling gutsy, press that ultimate button, it'll hit right as the ball lands. And so there's going to be a lot of damage. And so if there's a lot of communication coming out from the University of Wisconsin, they can punish the side of the University of Northern Iowa for bad positioning or even just grouping too much.
Right, definitely. very big tools there at Oriana's disposal. I actually want to call into question how much that's going to really throw off, legacy Oriana players from guys like myself stuck in low elo all the way up to the pros that have mained this champion for years and years on end. I mean, these are nice QOL changes, and I think in the long run, they're going to feel so much better.
Right.
But off the front end, does that not have to be just a little jarring?
I think it would be slightly, but once you realize that, like, you don't have to wait for the ball to land, and depending on how fast your reaction speed is, right? Like, you could save at least a quarter of a second by not realizing that the ball is there or losing track of it between hitting your dissonance or hitting your command shockwave, right? So if you cue that up as the ball is in flight, like, that's instantaneous. That's a huge difference, especially when you're talking like where these team fights are decided by sometimes a tenth of a second.
Right.
Like that's a huge change. And so I think overall this Oriana change, like you said, it's quality of life, but it's also, in my opinion, a slight buff.
Oh, yeah.
Because it makes it faster. You're no longer just like spamming the R button when the ball gets there.
I think anytime you give players more tools at their disposal, raise that ceiling instead of hindering it at any point, you're going to see the best and the brightest come out in every possible aspect with that, and really only calls the players to a higher level of capability. So with that in mind, we are going to see how it plays out, because against a Kennen, that is a little bit of an interesting matchup to see this change coming through.
I'm curious to see how the Kennen is going to play into this. He's not going to be able to zone quite as well as I think a Kennen would like to, being able to use those electric shurikens.
Oh, no.
Is this going to be a cheeky level 1?
I believe so. I think they're going to.
I want it.
So the good news is actually for the bot lane of Northern Iowa here is that they're not going to have to come through that way to leash, because Kayn is starting on the red side jungle. So there's at least not a reason that Exo Shelly would run into that brush. That said, I've seen plenty of players run into that brush with no reason whatsoever before, but yeah, they do just hold that one out. And there is a narrow dodge from a situation that could have been critical. Now this is just time for University of Wisconsin to throw down some good ward coverage, get themselves that first blue, start on probably their own blue next and cap the red, just to run straight through for Kha'Zix.
I think, this is really, really bad for I Hate Scuttle and that Kayn. Kayn is so mana hungry at this early on in the game that without his blue buff, he's going to be in a really, really dire strait. So as long as Limited is able to go pick up his red and then transition right into his own blue before I Hate Scuttle even recognizes what happened, this is going to be a really hard early game for Scuttle.
Oh, absolutely. So Kayn, too, a champion that you can just shut down entirely. Plenty of games. Kayn doesn't get rolling. Kayn doesn't get into it. And you look at the clock at 15 minutes and go, wait, they have a Kayn?
It's like, dude, they have a jungler? Oh, ooh, boy. I mean, it's hard, right? Like, there just are some junglers that have such...
They're on a collision course, these junglers.
Yeah.
That's actually... So I Hate Scuttle being very on the ball about actually counter-jungling that.
Oh, my goodness. He's not even... Limited doesn't... He's not giving the respect of going to get his own blue right away.
Oh, man. So he actually thinks he's ahead of the curve on this one. Doesn't realize he's likely behind it. And that could be pretty cheeky. But he might actually be able to get out before Limited gets in there. So Scuttle very, very low and will be isolated if Kha'Zix does find him in time. But actually out of there. So that's...
Oh, and Kha'Zix is even...
Oh,
there
no,
we go.
he's
There's
coming
the
in
pitch.
for it. Yeah, he wants it. Double buff. Flash in, isolated. But look at that. He can just walk right through the wall. I Hate Scuttle saying, see ya, nerd. Try better next time.
That's the thing. If Limited does get that leap up here soon, Scuttle is not going to be able to get away.
No, he's got it. He's under his
still
own
has
tower.
flash,
You cannot dive at level 3 no matter how low that target is as Kha'Zix if you're not ready. If you don't have flash up, I'll say.
Oh, and
I
that's,
like that.
Yeah, and the Quinn combo right there was what I was talking about. You get that flag and drag, and then you're immediately safe because you just knocked back the enemy, and you're also far away, and you get a crit and a movement speed boost because of the way Quinn's passive works with her W.
Well, we saw top lane being the closest lane last time around. ShamWow Sherlock not afraid to stand up to Dudge. Dudge just had a lot of support from his team, whereas there were not as many resources at the disposal of Northern Iowa to do the same. This time around, though, it looks like the story may be similar as Limited is stuck around on this side of the map. Will jump in. Look at that. Forces the flash out because the knockback did jump closer to Dudge. And so ShamWow Sherlock does survive, but there is no flash to boot. And meanwhile, Exo Shelly, gonna see how well that spell shield does for you, because you are just getting shredded alive here. Exalt and Due, the lovers duo in the bot lane, not afraid to really take it to Shelly and Darkhaven. Having a rough time.
I mean, nor should they, right? And here comes the other engage.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just going to keep the pressure right up. We saw them being really aggressive off the back of Taric and Kalista. This time around, Xayah, Rakan, its own different flavor of aggression, but every bit as aggressive, all to do. And we do have a pause. They say there's a little bit of lag on the side of Exo Shelly, just trying to get that to calm down. Obviously, never want any of these players to play in an uncomfortable situation of,
That's right.
hey, I tapped Q, and then a whole half second later, didn't go through. It's actually one thing that, like, I was explaining to my parents the importance of a good connection,
Mm-hmm.
and they were questioning it a little bit, like, how does a half second make that much of a difference?
Oh boy.
But in a game like League of Legends, I mean, what ping for you feels too high? Because I get above 80, and I'm just sitting there, like, chewing on my tongue.
See, that's the thing. I'm so bad that that even if I had, like, right now, because the servers are now in Chicago and we're located here in Atlanta, I get like 32 ping. But then, like, I do a misplay and I just like type into chat, oh man, ping issues. 30. I spiked up to 40 milliseconds. Like, it's so bad. But honestly, I feel it around, like you said, about 80 is when it starts to matter. I found that the best description of describing good connections to my parents is like, imagine if I like slapped you and then you didn't feel it for a half second later, but there's nothing that you could do about it at that point. Like, it's just too late. You got slapped.
Are you saying you've got Bruce Lee speed of slaps? I want to see that, actually.
If I had 80 ping in real life when I was slapping somebody, then yes.
Well, they are back into it, and Due, wasting no time, wants to jump in on that. Just keep things moving. Says, hey, the game may have paused, but our aggressive nature has certainly not, only wetting our jaws for a little bit more blood here. We pressed to 5 minutes with no first blood. That's longer than last game went.
Yeah, it is. But that's also because last game had a pretty bad...
Ooh, there it is. First
spoke
blood.
too soon.
The flag and about half of the drag. That's what it is. It's like a flag and combo that really set it for Dudge in that top lane, and on his own merits this time too. So did get that outplay, because if you do recall to last game, dear viewers, it was ShamWow Sherlock who took away the 1v1 first blood. Dudge says, this time around, I'm going to own that head-to-head.
That actually feels really bad too, because they were even in CS up until that moment, as well as, but getting that first blood pick up onto Dudge is actually going to be pretty painful, because he should be able to get some pretty good items after he goes back here. As long as he doesn't get stopped, yep, he is going to get that first by Tiamat right away at 5 minutes and 40 seconds. That's going to be really hard for ShamWow Sherlock, I think, to play against, because he already had a lot of pressure off of the back of just one gank for Limited. So now if Limited returns to that lane, he's going to have so much pressure there.
Yeah, they're still feeling the effects of that with that flash down, right?
Look at that.
Dudge doing a really good job to make sure he can at least stay on the other end. But look at that, being nearsighted. The flash not there, but the last shot will find it. ShamWow Sherlock says, Tiamat Shmiamat, dude. I'm Quinn. Fight me. And they do. And it goes the way of ShamWow Sherlock. So definitely good play to not get too upset by that first blood. I love seeing top laners come back and say, yeah, okay, it was a little bit of a mishap on my part. I'm still in a position to win this. And ShamWow Sherlock this time is actually the first to level 6. So he will have that ultimate over Dudge. No Cataclysm there. Neither have teleport. So that actually is a pretty big advantage. And it's causing Limited to have to come up and reset the wave just so that doesn't get entirely bounced.
And that gives them a lot of information. I Hate Scuttle is actually slightly behind here in the jungle, 16 CS behind. He has not made very much of a presence in any lane after he kind of got that that gank there in the near the Rift Herald by Limited. He hasn't really shown much, so he is behind, but that hasn't hurt his team really, right? Like, across the lanes, they're pretty much behind in CS, but at least they haven't given up kills like we saw last game. They were behind in CS, and they were giving up a lot of kills.
Right? No, by this point, I mean, the CS disparities, too, were so huge at 7.5 minutes. I mean, we already had, I think, a 3K gold lead. There's the Cataclysm. Goodbye, ShamWow Sherlock. Do what you can, which is not much in this instance. And the trades continue. Dudge takes another point back on this one, so it is only 30 to 15 in tennis terms.
So the real problem with, like, even though ShamWow Sherlock hit that level 6 earlier, it doesn't give him a power spike. it gives him more macro presence because he can roam using Valor and get there much quicker, but it doesn't give him macro presence, right? Like, there's nothing gained in terms of an in-lane advantage from having level 6, where Dudge, that level 6 with Cataclysm, that's a damage spike. Like, that's going to throw you into the ground at the dump, right?
Right.
And so there's a lot of damage, and ShamWow Sherlock just doesn't have anything to counter that burst damage. We saw him win that last engage by the skin of his teeth because he was able to get the EQ reset and get 2 crits in a row.
Yeah.
But without having the, like, now with the added Cataclysm damage, ShamWow Sherlock just can't survive through that. Yeah, Scuttle's probably dead
for
here,
Scuttle.
too.
Yeah, he is in trouble. The flag, the drag, and down he goes. Dudge taking away the third kill, both for his team and the game. But Dewey says, no, I want to get in on some of this action. Bites off a little bit more on the early rip and does actually manage to come away a little bit worse for the wear from that trade. Exo Shelly and Darkhaven say, hey, rethink this one. Back it on off there because we are no slouches in this second game. Only the Doran's Blade there compared to the strong start from Exalt there with a good bit more itemization. So we'll come back with the BF. Can't afford those 2 critical longswords. That will definitely be tipping the trades in Exalt's favor. But at this point, Exo Shelly has a nice amount of damage that can turn the tide of any of these fights coming through. Kane's off in the wings here. I don't know if he's just clearing or if he wants to find something onto ASAP. First tower, Dutch.
That's the hard thing about the bot lane matchup is so hang on. Go back to that fight real fast before I start that thought. Is it was actually a little bit of a misplay by Dewey why they weren't able to get a kill here? Hang on, Scuttle.
Dutch is 2 levels up on Scuttle and 1 on Sherlock. So if he can find the 2 of them, Cataclysm bind him right in, and Limited is there. Now isolated, Scuttle having to flash back, gets flashed in on, and will be the double kill for Dudge, dunking it on in drastically. That is massive. He is 5-1-0, this guy. You can put a cork in his early game, and he just doesn't care. He'll find it. He'll get there. And it's all off the back of these teams' ability to just solidly win their lanes. It's not as flashy as what Dutch has this time around, right?
Yep.
It's not as stylistically dominant as him coming through, but 94-28 in the mid lane? Hello? 82-56, smaller only by comparison in the bot lane, but certainly not by game impact, does mean that they just have so much free reign to keep Scuttle out of the top lane, to keep him from being a threat, and to just let Dudge run wild. He's now stretching a massive lead over ShamWow Sherlock. And again, closest CS between the two is there.
That hurts though, right? Like, ASAP is playing so well in this mid lane. He has such good CS, right? Like, he has that perfect 10 CS a minute again, right? He's about to get it. There we go. There. 10 CS a minute. And it's just, oh, wow, hang on.
Yeah, Shelly's in some trouble here, but I think they'll be able to back off fine again. Darkhaven having to flash at the last second, so wait until the very end, but does get out in one piece. Unfortunately, the summoner blown. ShamWow Sherlock, no tower to retreat to. We'll kite this one out, but don't run back. That's the flag and drag. That's how you die. I saw it coming. Unfortunately, ShamWow Sherlock did not have the luck of the Irish on his side there. Does go down, flash, and teleport up. We'll at least have that to get back to lane sooner.
Yeah, and he has his ultimate to get back to lane sooner too, right? Like,
he had the reset. That's the thing. He had the out, and then he's like, oh, Jarvan's flag and drag's not on a cooldown. That's like the ultimate, right?
Oh,
no, it's not. It comes down really, really fast, and then you die.
Yeah, there's just so much damage there. ASAP is here, maybe trying to make something happen with Command Shock.
Teleport's coming behind him. Woo. They want this. ShamWow Sherlock wants to come in. Will try to find Dewey or ASAP or whomever he can get his hands onto, but the team said, no, dude, don't go in. We don't want that. Shelly's coming in for the backup, but it's just another health bar to keep the distractions off and cause them a flash at the end of the day. Limited here. Very low targets. This is Kha'Zix's reset heaven. There's the first one. Will he get the second? Star Call does come down, so I wish for Tristan and Darkhaven. The next one on their flash in. Charm up. Goodbye, Darkhaven. ASAP finds that kill. And it's another 2 taken away. 8-1 now the score, as Wisconsin's going to net themselves another tower.
This is a bigger lead than we saw at 12 minutes than that last game. I mean, Wisconsin, they're just playing so on their game right now. They look really, really strong. I mean, very comfortable with their composition, such good CS. I mean, there's really nothing that Northern Iowa can do to stop this. they don't have a lot of wards up, right? They have that one ward in the Dragon Pit that we see right there. Nothing.
That's the BM to leave that one up. Like, just watch how fast we kill this one. Dudge saying, watch how fast I kill this one. No, just burns both summoners to keep it alive. And a cheeky stop from ShamWow Sherlock will at least put that on hold. But that's an Infernal buffed Orianna now. If she wasn't strong enough with her 113 CS and a kill and a Morellonomicon, she's certainly stronger now that all that is compounded by 8%. ShamWow Sherlock, goodbye.
Oh.
We'll die. Yeah, ASAP had that one. The over the wall, the downtown, the Kobe. Speaking of dunks, here comes Dudge, and Darkhaven is dead. Dominating Dudge, dunks Darkhaven.
Good alliteration. I like it.
He is just a monster. 7-1-0. Needs to get an assist in his back pocket there. 7-11.
Yeah.
Lucky score.
There you go.
Unlucky is Mr. ShamWow Sherlock.
Yeah, that feels bad. So one thing I actually didn't get to talk about by the end of that last game, because it made me laugh because I didn't notice until the very end. Dutch is building a static ship on that Jarvan. So he's got Titanic Hydra into a static shiv because Revolver makes no sense as an electric item coming for him.
Wow.
He did build static in that last game. He crits for 236 damage before completing the Titanic.
Oh my goodness.
So now when he gets on you, he'll flag and drag, auto you a lot. You try to get away, he'll cataclysm you, just keep autoing you. I mean,
he's on a bit of a mission to actually deal more static damage than Ken in this game. That's the goal, right?
I mean, at this rate, he could because he's just scaling so fast. He's getting so much damage.
Goodness. This is wild. Dodge is putting on a clinic for us here today. He's definitely player of the series if this game does go the way that it looks to be trending.
Oh, nope. I'm waiting for this Orianna to ult because there's so many good times for her to do it.
He's 2v1ing. Doesn't care.
Didn't even use Cataclysm's on cooldown.
That's why I didn't use it.
I was about to say, that seems like he would use Cataclysm there.
Yeah, no, I think definitely. So the flag and drag, the way he harasses with that is so excellent because he knows he doesn't need it for his escape when he has the flash up. So he's just going to flag and drag into tower, into two champions, into whatever because he knows that it's so unlikely he'll be punished for it. And in the meantime, we have a little bit of an engage going down in the mid lane. Exalt finds Darkhaven, and they're not done as Due gets his hands on that again, takes the kill away, says, I'm going to have my blood here. Tower goes down to boot, so it is every member now of Wisconsin with a kill to themselves. Exo Shelly very much alone behind his own tower, going to go down for this one. Goodbye, Shelly. Exalt takes the next kill of that fight, and while Scuttle's trying to salvage the remains, he may bite off a little bit more than he can chew.
Run.
That's bad news. Scuttle's gone down here. Won't even get the kill as Limited stays alive. The double down coming out for Exalt as he's waving his hands high in the air saying, I am on top of this one. And now Dudge just being the rock for his team, keeping things in that top lane. Ready to dive. ShamWow Sherlock saves the Cataclysm for the knockback. Very, very well-disciplined play. And Dudge takes a kill under tower. Meanwhile, the rest of the team just takes a tower. They're not even done. They want the inhibitor. This game is in shambles now for the side of Northern Iowa.
Yeah, and you've got like 25-second death timers from the side of Northern Iowa. We do see another engage. ASAP getting so much damage on Darkhaven.
ASAP wants it. There's the first slicing Maelstrom I've seen go aggressive onto some people as Mr. KH tries to get in there. Gets himself knocked up. Shockwave combo, very clean to boot. And it's a double now for Limited. I feel like at this point, everybody on the team has had a double kill except for Due.
Yeah.
If I know Due, he's going to try to take this away.
It's a little bit harder to take kills on Rakan than it is on Taric.
Oh boy, ShamWow Sherlock not going to make it back to the steps of his own fountain after that flash. Dudge, legendary, does take that one through, and they're just holding off. Normally, we'd see a team have to back here because eventually they'd be chipped away so hard, but they just keep the engages rolling. They don't need their ultimates. They don't need the health bars high. They are so far ahead that they can just stick around here almost indefinitely. Keep the minions rolling through. This is all off of minions before the supers have even started spawning, right? They are just ushering in the super minions, giving them the nice red carpet to roll over. It is red because it is soaked with the blood of the University of Northern Iowa.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do at this point. It was I think it was like 15 minutes by the time the base was broken open. I mean, at this point, it takes all 5 members of the University of Northern Iowa to try to kill these super minions. And so that just gives Wisconsin complete freedom to do whatever they want into these lanes, like literally whatever they want here. I mean, it's just it's so tricky when you're in this position that it's more or less not how do we come back into this game, but how do we how do I say this delicately? How do we
Lose gracefully.
Yes, because this is a mountain to scale at this point. 16 and a half gold, and there's nothing you can do. This hurts.
It's a pretty bad position to be in, and still pre-20 minutes, right? It was 22 by the time that they finally finished everything off last game around, but 4 minutes is a long time, and now the University of Wisconsin is in a good position to challenge that one through if they want to beat their own record. ShamWow Sherlock with the flash. Due, that is Due going against him. He's a higher level. The support is a higher level than the enemy top laner, and ShamWow Sherlock feels the need to call in reinforcements just so he doesn't get 1v1'd out by the support. Exalt on the rampage does take that one out at the very end. Wish will keep Darkhaven alive, if only for just a little longer, but I feel like the death is coming soon. The timer is ticking, and Grim Reaper is sitting on their shoulders, just waiting to collect his dues. Exalt says, I will be the agent of death for you. Limited now trying to get in onto I Hate Scuttle. The flashes will likely seal his fate before he reaches those fountain steps, but no, he is alive and exalts. Same cannot be said if you challenge that one out. You got to be careful with that. Slicing nails from the last ditch effort comes out for Mr. KH, but it's expired by the time he even finds anybody. And the fight is breaking out elsewhere. Exalt finally does get shut down off his own tower diving, health bar being quite low. Nice double up on the Shockwave to get the double kill. And they're going to continue with this triple kill. What more can they pad on the stats as Scuttle goes down? No, did live by the skin of his teeth, only to go down yet again. Quadra kill. Is it the Penta? Dive the fountain steps. Dudge, you know you want to do it. He's waiting for it.
It doesn't look like going to. If they do, it'll be a super delayed Penta, and we won't see the cool screen.
Oh, they want it. There it goes. Turret goes down. It is going to be the kill. Not happening. And Limited, the last one alive. Exo Shelly actually can push this one off. So the Penta bait is too strong. They were on track to beat their record. Now, possibly not going to happen. No sub 20-minute game here. And they give up 3 deaths.
Yeah.
All to the fountain.
Yeah, so 3 of the 4 deaths have been fountain and not champions.
Oh, lovely.
But Super gets credit for 2 of them. Feels good.
Yeah, hey, look at that. Stat padding. You lose a game, you say, well, it was 2-3-0. That's not that bad, right?
Right. It was my team.
It was my team.
I was the sole bright spot for my team.
Well, in the Collegiate League of Legends scene, you definitely have to live and die by your team. Can't be blaming them for anything. So I like that the spirits still seem high coming out from University of Northern Iowa. They are taking this very gracefully. They seem to be having a good time and enjoying some fun while still competing to the best of their abilities. And that's what the Collegiate League of Legends scene is all about. So I think both schools are actually quite the credit to their university establishments, as this is a very good game coming through. Scuttle finally slays Exalt. Exalt going down for the 2nd time, only member of his team to die twice now.
Yep.
We'll have that just off the back of
Dudge did die twice.
Oh, Dudge died because he dove the fountain.
Yep, he got that first. He was first blooded, and then he dove the tower there.
Well, I apologize for that bronze 5 casting there. We are back in on it. Every caster forgets to count a little bit. Sometimes here, there, that, the other. Doesn't matter, because the only count that matters is 21 minutes on the board. Next inhibitor falling. They need to beat that sub 22-minute game.
If they get it in the next minute in 11 seconds, they will beat it.
I think they're on the run for it now. They know this. The pressure's on. Dudge trying to pad the stats out a little bit with the towers. Knows that that's the next goal to boot, but they're just trying to get it clean, right? They got everything off the board last time around. Won't settle for less, so they have to beat the timer in the same manner at all possible. Is going to be Limited, actually, going in quite alone. Thinks twice on that one. Pops the ultimate to get himself to safety there, so that cooldown will not help with any resets. And Exalt on the long run back won't be here as Dudge starts the fight, but they have more than enough damage with that Shockwave Cataclysm combo coming in to find 3 so far. Can they make it 5? They don't want to dive the fountain steps this time around. We have 15 seconds on this one. Better be quick. Exalt is coming in to finish this one fast, so I think they've got it here. But look at ShamWow there, being the damage for his team, keeping them so low. 5 seconds, can you do it? 3, 2, 1, no! 22 minutes is finally crested. 22:02.
seconds. Oh.
And that is it. The GGs come out 28-5, a little bit messier of a game, as I feel like the side of Wisconsin sort of loosened the reins there toward the end, right?
I mean, at that point, you have such a strong lead, right? Like you don't really have to be that concerned about what else happens in the game.
All that matters, all that gets recorded at the end of the day is the W, right?
Yeah, that's right. You gotta capitalize on the big W and be appreciative for this win, because it is a solid 2 victories for the University of Wisconsin. So that's got to feel good for them. Right?
Yeah, no, they definitely came through very, very strongly. So 2 22-minute games for a combination of 44 combined minutes to take the series 2-0 is nothing short of impressive play coming out of the University of Wisconsin. Now, 40 minutes, 44 minutes, that should be about, let's see, 120 credits for all of our friends watching here. So that is going to be able to be placed on the raffle. Make sure you stick around for that 3,500 RP giveaway at the end. Hope you've been betting those credits out. Now we got to give some credit to the University of Wisconsin for some absolutely outstanding play there to take the series 2-0 to continue their march on through our regular collegiate season. Go on.
I was going to say, there's a lot of praise that I want to lay down, but it's kind of hard because this match did feel a little bit lopsided. I mean, we saw Dudge. He played really solidly, had some interesting build choices.
Player of the series for me is Dudge.
Yeah, Dudge played really well. I kind of am leaning toward Exalt a little bit, or ASAP. ASAP played that Syndra super, super well in that first game. That he was 4-0-5 by the time they started rolling that game. So he was one of the big reasons I felt like they were just able to take control. And then his Orianna this game, he didn't shockwave some of the times when I thought he should have, but he got a solid 3-band shockwave there at the end of the game. He applied so much pressure to that Kindred in the mid lane that he wasn't even able to get that much CS. Like by the end of the game, ASAP had double the amount of CS as Mr. KH fan there in that mid lane. So I think there's a couple of really solid play of the game players, or I'm sorry, players of the game, MVPs of the
player
game
of the series.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, any one of them works. And just like any pick works, that's much to the credit of the skill for the University of Wisconsin that all of their players managed to look like rock stars through the game, taking their credit. Even Due coming away with a couple outstanding kill snipes. Gotta give credit where credit's due there. Ladies and
no, go ahead. Good.
I was just going to close us out. Say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for what has been an exciting series between the University of Wisconsin and the University of Northern Iowa. We cannot thank either of these teams enough for taking the time to perform for us. Hats off to both of them. Next game will be tomorrow evening at 7. I believe Starkey's going to be manning the desk with Coco on that, so you definitely don't want to miss that. Get a little bit more credits. Chance to get that 3,500 RP as well. And, of course, more Collegiate League of Legends action, which is the reason we're all here anyway. Thank you so much for joining us. That will do it for tonight. I am Kyle Corvus Crow, graciously joined today by Brian Brain Starkey. We hope you've had as much fun as we have. We're signing off.